I don't know who needs to hear this, but you cannot have your cake, eat it too, ask for seconds, and then get mad when somebody else wants a slice. Because that's exactly what Kenzie was giving this episode. She's telling Caleb to go explore while still expecting Corbin to chase after her, and somehow she's upset that he's trying to respect his couple with Melanie. Meanwhile, we have Anniyah who is creating problems that doesn't even exist. And your sincere finally decides it's time to check in with Melanie. And Zach says something in the hideaway that would have had me packing my bags, okay? Baby, let's get into this mess.
Kay Unscripted, no teens restricted. In this journey, watch our stories unfold.
Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. This is Kay Unscripted. I am your girl Kay, and today we're breaking down Love Island USA Season 8, Episode 12. But before we get into this episode, I would like you to take a moment to like this video, comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And if you are already subscribed, thank you so much for joining. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much for all of your support. Now let's get into this episode. So the episode starts where we left off with Zach and Kayda heading to the hideaway. And once they get there, they immediately start to explore the room. Now we get back to the villa and Anniyah goes to talk to Trinity. She's saying how she feels like Casey is falling back on her and makes her feel like a safe option. And I'm having a hard time understanding where Anniyah is coming from because Casey never said that. Zach was the one who said that. And you let him get into your head. Now Trinity tells her, girl, I don't think that's true. The man has been prioritizing you. And if he wanted to pursue Saul, he would have done that already. And I don't know why that's not getting into her head, okay? She's saying that Casey's contradicting himself by the things that he says and doesn't really take her concerns seriously. And honestly, again, I'm confused because I haven't seen that. Unless you're missing something, Anniyah, I think you're just pulling straws at this point. Now, Corbin and Kenzie have a chat. He's saying that he's in a sticky situation because he enjoys their connection, but they were ripped apart. And now that he's in a couple with Melanie, he doesn't know how to balance things. He tells her that their connection is very intense, and I feel like these two just want to jump each other's bones. That's it. There's nothing more happening with these two. But anyways, he tells her that the ball is in her court because he knows that she's connecting with Caleb as well. So they're both talking about how it's so hard for them. Child, y'all just want to do the do, okay? So it's not that hard. Corbin said in his confessional that he told Melanie that he was going to prioritize their connection, but after talking to Kenzie, he just wanted to be all up under her. Meanwhile, Caleb's standing right there and seeing everything that's going down. Now, back in the hideaway, Zach and Kayda, they're talking about their journey so far, and then he starts talking about Bryce, and you could tell Kayda's annoyed because she's like, yeah, we're alone, but you're still talking about Bryce. But anyways, they're just enjoying their time together. They're eating chocolate-covered strawberries and having a good old time. We get back to the villa. Kenzie's done with her chat with Corbin, and so she now pulls Caleb for a chat. Now, immediately you could tell he's irritated with her. She tells him that she had a good chat with Corbin, but that's it. They didn't kiss, but Caleb is convinced that he did see them kissing. Okay? Now, it's bedtime and the islanders head to bed, and then we see Melanie's crying, and I'm like, girl, what are you crying about now? Melanie, she decides that she's not going to sleep in the room and she's going to go to Soul Ties again, okay? And did y'all peep that Gabriel and Jen were up to something? It was definitely giving that they were playing the guitar, okay? Now let's talk about Kayda and Zach, okay? They kind of show us that they're doing their thing right now. Okay? And tell me why Zach said to her, would you be mad at me if I talk to a bombshell? Y'all, I would be so pissed if I were Kayda. Like, why are you asking that? And that's why I didn't think these two had any business going into the hideaway. Because truth be told, Zach is not that into Kayda. He's definitely waiting for someone better to come, okay? If that wasn't enough evidence, I don't know what else is. Now we get to the next morning, and apparently Melanie's upset because she heard that Corbin and Kenzie shared a kiss, but I don't think they shared a kiss in that moment. We didn't see it happen, okay? And they both did deny that they shared a kiss, okay? But we also find out that Zach and Kayda had sex, and something definitely went down between Gabriel and Jen. Anyways, Casey tries to talk to Anniyah, but she shut it down. So he's now venting to Corbin about Anniyah thinking she's a second option just because she saw him talking to Saul and he was smiling or whatever. When he in fact told Saul the whole time that he's into Anniyah only. Now Corbin said, well, she's in her head a lot, and I agree. She's in her head a lot. But also, Anniyah, you're going to push that man away, okay? Because a man gets tired of having to tell you the same thing over and over again. Like, how much reassurance do you need? Girl, get your shit together. Anyways, Corbin starts talking about his situation and how it's so sticky. Oh Lord, it's so sticky. And I'm so glad he finally admitted that it's only sexual tension between him and Kenzie. That's what I've seen, and that's what I've come to realize, that it's nothing deeper than them wanting to sleep with each other, okay? He said his fingers had been playing the guitar with Kenzie, so they were definitely doing things. And I hope you'll understand I hope you'll understand what I was trying to say, okay, by that. Now, why, when Casey was saying he and Anniyah hadn't done anything, he called her grandma. Now, when he first said it, I was like, wait a minute, but I did hear him explain that Anniyah just be falling asleep really fast, okay? And so he's a very touchy person, and they don't really get to do anything. And I don't think he's really wanting to play the guitar or to do that sort of thing with her, but I think it's more so, you know, just a little smooch, a little something before bed, a little make out sesh. They don't really get to do that because she falls asleep very fast, okay? Now, here goes Bryce gossiping and talking about everyone but his fake connection with Trinity, okay? He's talking about how Caleb is a softie and that Kenzie is a loose cannon. Bryce, maybe you should put that time and energy into your own connection, okay? Meanwhile, Caleb and Kenzie chat, and he explains that he kind of saw them together, and he was kind of putting the blame on Sincere, if I'm being honest, because he said Sincere was the one who said that they were kissing. And then he kind of downplays it by saying it didn't make him mad. But Caleb, you were mad, you were annoyed, okay? And it's okay if you were. So he does say to her that he's feeling like, how long does he have to watch this thing go down between Kenzie and Corbin? And she's like, well, I don't really have a timeline, okay? He also says that normally for him, if he saw that happening, it would have made him pull away and be done with that situation. But she said to him that he should be exploring with other people, and he should definitely be getting to know some of the other girls, okay? And so at this point, Caleb was like, maybe I will do that, and maybe I should just mind my business when it comes to you and Corbin. I feel like he wasn't really honest about what he was feeling in that moment because he doesn't want to be upset. But let me tell you, had the tables been turned, Kenzie would not be saying the things that she's saying now, okay? Now, if I were Caleb, I would be done with this girl and I would be exploring other connections, at least talking to other people to see if there is something there. And let's just see how she feels about that, okay? So now, it was a cute moment when Anniyah said her show was on, okay? She was there with the girls, and then she's like, the show is on, and they were watching the guys work out. That was a cute, kiki moment, okay? That was nice. And now Melanie ends up joining them, and Trinity does tell her, girl, do you see Corbin? Get your shit together. Stop sleeping outside and go do your thing with him. Yes, Trinity. Tell her, because it's annoying as hell. Get it together, Mel, okay? So Zach and Kayda come out of the hideaway and they separate with the boys and the girls and start spilling the tea and told everyone that they did the do, okay? Then we see Melanie and Caleb having a chat. He talks about how he likes his connection with Kenzie and feels like she hasn't completely stepped away from whatever is going on with Corbin. But he's not about to be in Kenzie's back pocket. And I said, period, okay? Period, Caleb. Melanie tells him that he needs to get clarity from Kenzie to know if she would be willing to step away from her situation with Corbin to focus on him, because that's why she hasn't slept in the bed with Corbin, because it's weird. Now, we did see Melanie say some other reason why she didn't sleep in the bed, so we'll talk about that later. Then we see Kenzie telling Jen that she wanted Corbin to kiss her so bad, but he was trying to be respectful of his couple. And Jen was like, what couple, girl? What couple? What do you mean? He is coupled up with Melanie. That's a couple, okay? Anyways, she thinks that because Melanie hasn't slept in the bed with Corbin, Kenzie should be up there kissing and stuff, right? So Kenzie's like, well, what's her real reason? Is it because of Sincere? Because she's not being honest about whether or not she wants to explore with Sincere still. And somehow that's affecting Kenzie. How? Please tell me how, okay? Kenzie, please don't piss me off, okay? Because you've pissed me off this entire episode. Melanie does tell Caleb that she still has feelings for Sincere, but it's not going to go anywhere. He does promise to not share that information with anyone, which gave Melanie some trust to open up to him. Then Kenzie's saying to Jen, oh, he shouldn't be putting all his eggs in my basket. And I told him, go pull some other girls for chats. Kenzie, how about he takes all his eggs out of your basket? How about that? Let's see what you do about that. Now, Kenzie says in her confessional that they should be exploring to the max and not be worried about other people's feelings. And okay, Kenzie. But you also got in your feelings when that happened. So what the hell are you talking about? Child, she then pissed me off, okay? Now, Melanie and Corbin have a chat. He asks her where she's at and she says he was lonely in bed, right? She tells him that there was some talk about him and Kenzie sharing a kiss, but now they know it's not true. He does tell Melanie that she did want a kiss and he did want to kiss her, but out of respect for their situation, he didn't want to do all of that, okay? He feels like he's moving respectfully, and Mel's still pulling away, and for him, he's trying really hard to give the connection a fair chance. I don't fully believe him, but that's what he says, okay? Corbin tells her, yes, he still has feelings for Kenzie, but he picked her for a reason, and there was something about her that made him want to explore her. He also asked her, like, girl, are you going to keep sleeping outside? Okay? But she does say she's not going to do that anymore because she wants to move forward. Now, for Melanie, it's starting to feel a lot more real that they are in a couple, but she says that she does want to commit to exploring and experiencing things with him. Anniyah is still complaining about Casey not being serious enough, and I don't know how serious she wants that man to be because nothing she's saying is making sense. She also said that she doesn't want to be freaky on camera and she just wants to take things slow, and I get it. I agree with her. Girl, let them other people do that, okay? Move how you feel is good for you. Now, I don't think that's what Casey meant. I don't think he's saying that he wants to do, DJ, play the guitar or none of that. I think maybe he just wants some smoochies. I said that earlier. Maybe rub on your butt a little bit. A little some. I think that's what he was trying to see. It's later on in the evening. The Islanders get ready for the night ahead, and we sort of see Sincere saying he felt guilty for not talking to Melanie because since a recoupling, they haven't really talked. And so he lets Saul know that this is going to be simply a conversation about the way things went down between them, nothing more, nothing less. And she also agreed that they do need to have that conversation. Now, we then witness a side conversation between Kenzie and Jen, and she's feeling like Corbin should kiss her and that he should be pulling her for a chat because whose feelings is he trying to protect? And I said, oh, so Jealous of Melanie. That's what it is. Uh-huh. Okay. You cannot stand the fact that a guy you like would be interested in Melanie. That's what it is. Kenzie, baby, I'm gonna need you to get off your high horse because, sweetheart, you're not the smartest pencil in the bag, okay? You're thinking with your coochie and not your brain. But then again, you probably don't have one because last I checked, you were in a couple and you also just said you were going to focus on Caleb. So which one is it? Anyways, we get to Anniyah and Casey. He's explaining that she wants him to stop being so bubbly and to be more serious. But he said he's a very bubbly person and that's just it compared to her who is more chill and mellow. And he doesn't know if she's getting bored or maybe feeling like she's not having the same conversations with her that he's having with other people. But he feels like different people bring out different sides of you, and I agree with him. So he said he doesn't know what he needs to change to make her feel like he is more into her. But I just feel like this isn't about him. It's more so about Anniyah and her insecurities popping out because seriously, what did that man do? I'm still waiting to find out. She said that she wasn't trying to ask him to change his personality and wouldn't ask him to do that, but she was asking for 5 minutes to be serious and doesn't feel like that's too much to ask for. And he said, okay, I get it. But if it's a serious conversation, you want me to be serious. And I can understand that, but what pissed me off is you saying that I was just with you to coast through another week. That was disrespectful. And she's saying that's how she felt. She's not hating him. She is just being defensive. And I'm like, baby, Anniyah, the man has told you several times that he's into you. You're his only option, okay? But you keep spinning narratives in your head and you want him to be serious. Fine. But he's telling you how you disrespected him and you're still trying to justify what you said. And now you're mad because you think he's flipping the script on you. But you're just being defensive. Sometimes you need to listen to hear and understand, not listen to give a response. And that's what you were doing in that moment. Because you want him to hear you, but you're not hearing him. Anniyah, stop. You are going to lose Casey because what you're trying to explain is not making sense. Okay? She's telling him, oh, go talk to Saul. I don't give a shit if you do that. But girl, stop lying to yourself. You do give a shit because that's the reason why you got worked up to begin with when you saw him talking to her. And you do care. So please, girl, please just stop, okay? Now, Trinity and Kayda checking on Gabe to see how he's doing. And clearly that man is good, okay? Because things have been going great between him and Jen. Child, Gabe said, listen, Bia left, but life goes on, okay? I said, okay, Gabe, you're not wasting no time. Now, the real question for me listening to that conversation was, why is Kayda all up in that man's business? Because she was asking 21 questions. Let's talk about Zach wanting to explore a bombshell even after he cracked you. Let's talk about that. Now, can we talk about how all of a sudden Kenzie's friends with the new girls? Don't y'all find that to be a little bit weird? Anyways, they now have a sit down. They immediately ask her how things are going with Caleb. And she's like, well, it's good, but I don't know. I don't know about both of them at this point. When I tell you all, this girl is working my nerves, she really is. Anyway, Saul says that she thinks that Caleb's got it up and he's probably scared to give his all because he's not sure if she is going to give her all to him. So she's like, oh, I'm just tired of it being messy. Well, girl, stop being so damn messy then, okay? This is all your fault. Saul then shares that things are going really well with Sincere and that he makes her feel really calm. Now we finally see Sincere pulling Melanie for a chat. This is a much needed conversation between these two. He says he wants to check in to see where her head is at. And yes, they're not in a couple anymore, but he doesn't want to treat her like she's a stranger and doesn't want to forget about their connection. He also said that he did mess up and never wanted to close the door on their relationship, but out of respect for Corbin, he's been keeping his distance. Sincere, please. Anyways, Mel said, really, I'm the one who hasn't kissed him outside of the challenges. I'm not even sleeping in the bed with him because I still have these feelings for you. Now, this is where I said, Melanie, you've given two different explanations as to why you're sleeping outside. So which one is it? Anyways, he's saying it's not easy for him because he does think about her. Now, we get back to the conversation between Jen, Saul, and Kenzie. Jen is telling Saul that Cynthia did switch up on Melanie real quick, so keep an eye on him for that because she doesn't want him to do the same to her. Then Kenzie's like, oh, but they had a lot of drama and he was always down. And I'm like, Kenzie girl, what's your beef with Melanie? Because seriously, who asked for your 2 cents? Now back in the conversation with Cynthia and Melanie, he asked how she feels about Saul, and he said he's still getting to know her, but he does still feel weird that they're not together and he misses her a lot. Now, I don't know how I feel about this conversation because, yes, he said he messed up, but he didn't really say he was sorry. And it also does feel like the finale in their relationship. Did y'all kind of get that feeling, or was it just me? Now, to end this episode off, Corbin decides to pull Kenzie for a chat, and she's looking mad at him because he didn't say anything to her about the bikini she wore earlier in the day. And he's like, don't think just because I don't see anything I don't be seeing. I really do. So then he leads her to the bedroom, and I said, the bedroom? What are you all about to be doing in that bedroom? She kept telling him, oh, you could have come talk to me, but you didn't. You didn't talk to me all day. Then she said he didn't kiss her when he knows he wanted to because he's sparing other people's feelings. So you clearly like her more. Okay, that's what Kenzie's saying. So he says to her that his feelings for her are still there and that he hates seeing her with someone else. Y'all, Kenzie say, no, I think you're right where you want to be. And I was kind of confused by that statement. Kenzie is definitely pulling strings. Meanwhile, Caleb's looking like he's had enough. He was speaking to Jen, and that was the wrong person for him to be talking to because she's going to bring that right back to Kenzie. But then Gabe's telling him, hey, when you're too good, people start taking advantage of you. And I said, send someone for Caleb, okay? And send Kenzie home, okay? Because she's playing too many games. Then she's telling Corbin, oh, I feel like I put myself out there and it wasn't reciprocated. He's like, just because I didn't give you one kiss doesn't mean it's not going to happen again. And she said, no, you're just not giving me signs that you're interested in me. Kenzie is definitely manipulating the shit out of Corbin, and he doesn't even realize it. Just because she's been a thirst bucket, okay? That's what she is, okay? Next thing you know, they're kissing, and then she asked for him to keep it a secret, and I said, didn't you just tell Caleb that you were going to be honest with him? Didn't he also tell Mel the same thing? So why the need for the secret? You all know that's where the episode ends. And this episode left me with more questions than answers, okay? I need Kenzie to decide whether she wants Caleb or Corbin because playing both sides is getting old. I need Anniyah to stop letting her insecurities speak louder than Casey's actual actions before she pushes that good man away, okay? Now, as for Cynthia and Melanie, I honestly couldn't tell by their conversation if that was closure or the beginning of another chapter. And then let's talk about Corbin and Kenzie ending the episode of kissing and agreeing to keep it a secret. After she literally just told Caleb she was going to be honest with him, baby, the hypocrisy is loud with Kenzie, okay? But now I need to hear from y'all. Is Kenzie leading Caleb on? Should Corbin have fully committed to Melanie instead of entertaining Kenzie again? And do you think Cynthia and Melanie still have unfinished business, or is that chapter officially closed? Drop your thoughts in the comments because you already know I'm going to be down there reading every single one. If you enjoyed this recap, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Bye!